And now, AM 650 presents your source for leading-edge news and information on today's hottest products and services. This is Experts on Call on AM 650.
Well, hello and welcome to the program. Sterling Fox with you, joined in studio by the president and founder of FairTradeWorks. It's nice to have Jim Perkins back with us. Hello, Jim.
Hi, Sterling. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. It's spring. It's tough not to be fine at this time of year. It's my favorite season, and to be a person living in Vancouver at this time of year is to be a lucky human being, especially on the west side. There are over 30,000 cherry trees, Jim, in the city of Vancouver alone, plus all of the thousands around Metro Vancouver. It is a sensational time of year.
No, it's wonderful out. You know, it's construction time. It's my time of year, so yeah.
Well,
we're ready to go.
That's right. Well, it is the season of new growth.
Right.
And FairTradeWorks is a growing company. This is quite the growing concern. And I must compliment you on your TV commercials that I've been seeing recently on City and Global One. They look good, and the messaging is very strong, Jim.
Yeah, it's, we're going into our, second half of our first 12 months, and our first, 6 months strategy was to, just introduce ourselves as a brand and just get the name out there, get the logo out there. But now, we're going into the educational phase where we are still marketing very heavily and getting our message across. We have a big message, we have a great message, and we're all over the place, But we signed up with City TV and Global One now, as well as Global, and we're on TV, getting our message across, and educating the consumer about how wonderful we are.
Well, and it's great that television campaign is running now, because when people who are listening to us now see it on TV, and they will, they'll go, "Oh, right, that's the guy from the radio." Educate us. Give us the message, Jim. We've got a few minutes, and this is part of the program. So talk to us about FairTradeWorks. The slug line that runs on the TV commercial is, "We are construction."
Right. Yeah, we're just as you know, Stone, we're a brand new system of how construction runs, and our slogan, "We are construction." We basically encompass the whole construction industry from the design, the planning stage, architectural, our green mandate, our construction that runs between new home construction, commercial construction, residential development, restaurant development, all these kind of things. But we are not a construction company. We're a construction brand, and
right.
We're basically a group of construction professionals that are, breaking forward and leading the way. And it's 2013. We're just walking to a different beat of the drum. We just came up with new standards, new way of doing things, and using software, technology, everything's customer service based, and we just separate ourselves from the pack, and on a route to be number one.
Well, I think perhaps a way of describing FairTradeWorks and the program that you've established, Jim, you're a conduit. You're the buffer between the homeowner, the consumer, and the construction industry, because there's not a lot of common ground between those two parties, is there?
Well, traditionally over the last 10 years, I guess there's been a standoff, right? And, everybody's read the papers and had the horror stories and the nightmares and the overruns and the unforeseens and all those kind of myths and headaches. But, I guess we're non-biased, We're a non-biased construction brand that basically brings everybody together to work as a team, regulates it, makes it transparent, creates market value, creates an even playing field, and just, we're just trying to turn the industry around into where it should be, and just, it should be a fun, great experience, and no surprises.
And I use the words conduit and buffer.
Right.
And I suspect you would have preferred that I use the word advocate, because that's what it's all over the website, and it's very, very much an integral part of FairTradeWorks' business plan, isn't it?
Yeah, we're an advocate for our clients, homeowners, developers, you name it. So, we have a bunch of, we as a blanket statement, we're advocates. That's our company. But we have a team of expert advisors that, when people call in, they're coupled with one person throughout their whole project, and that's their go-to guy or girl for for any questions, for budgeting, for design ideas, you name it, right? We're a non-biased broker, advisor, you name it, to guide you through, to safeguard you, I guess, through the process.
And what sort of projects do you specialize in, or is basically the world your oyster when it comes to being most adept at connecting a consumer to the construction industry?
Yeah, we're so diverse. We handle all sorts of projects. From super high-end homes to renovations to high-end landscaping projects to regular landscaping projects to townhouse complexes to we're looking at our first multifamily development with a developer. So our skill set and our system is set up to handle anything from a small bathroom renovation to a multi-million dollar structure. So it's again, we are construction. We're set up to encompass the whole thing. We want to become the epicenter of a large majority of the construction in British Columbia and beyond.
And you have learned the trade literally around the world. You started out working for your dad in the UK. You've been in the Middle East. You've been in Australia. You've been here in Canada for 10 years. You know the business not only from the inside out here in British Columbia, but literally on a global basis, Jim.
I would hope so. Yeah, I've seen a lot, done a lot, and even at my young age, gained a huge amount of experience in the construction sector. Coming from North Wales on a farm, I grew up around hard work and using my hands, and went about my travels. And of course, I just followed my father's footsteps and what he taught me even as a young kid, and just working, and that took me on a path to work on construction sites and fund my travels around the world, right? So as I traveled, I gained experience, and I gained confidence, and I gained business savvy, and all these things coupled together. I guess you'd call it a career around the world in construction has brought me to this place right now where we're ready to take it to the next level and make a massive change in the sector. And like I said, we are construction, and we're going to be number one. So
well, and I think the conscious decision somewhere in putting together FairTradeWorks, Jim, you must have with your colleagues made the decision that we're not only going to provide the very best service from an advocacy standpoint to consumers who seek us out, but we're also going to be at cutting edge, high-tech operation. It's 2013. We're going to be a company that takes maximum advantage of the technological innovations of the day.
Yeah, I would say I'm a businessman, I guess you'd say, and so I float around different sectors, and I have peers and colleagues, and I sit in their industries and watch what goes on. So yeah, of course, as a young guy, and I would say the new generation of my team is the new generation of construction experts. Yeah, we're all encompassing of what's out there, what tools, I guess you call what tools are on hand. It's not just about the hammers and the nails, it's about what drives that machine, and the efficiency and the transparency and the communication and all these things, which is all encompassing in construction projects, because they are so complex, and there's so many decisions to make, and there's so much communication that's needed, and there's so much customer service needed, right? So it's yeah, we're just the new generation of construction.
Well, your timing is excellent. CMHC, the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporations, they pumped out a fresh batch of numbers for us to review here. And one of the interesting ones that jumped off the page at me is that they say that employment and population growth will continue to support the upward trend of new home and commercial construction in British Columbia. So both fronts, Jim, expected to do well. And they then ask, did you know more than 19,000 new multifamily housing starts are slated for this year, and more than 9,000 single-family dwellings. That's still quite an astonishing rate of construction. Now, mind you, that's province-wide. That's not all right here in Metro Vancouver, but it's still a pretty solid amount of work on an ongoing basis, isn't it?
Yeah, it's ever-growing, and not just the single-family residences or multifamily residents, to maintain that kind of growth. There's, all the infrastructure upgrades, the bridge building, the widening of roads, and of course in Greater Vancouver we're pretty densely populated. So, a good chunk of that is happening in our neighborhoods, and it's I don't think it's going to stop. And I think there's a lot of bad construction been happening over the last 5 or 10 years, and there's been a lack of regulation. There's been a lack of workers, maybe. So it's just been a bit of a melee, and a lot of people have been buying overpriced real estate that's been built by people who maybe shouldn't be building homes for people, right? So we're trying to, on the private side, we're trying to take a regulate that and take the reins and show people there is a different way, a different way of making sure that the house that they build for themselves or they bring their family into is built correctly and that they're paying a fair price for it, and everything is good. So when they do hand over that cash, they're confident and that they've built a house that they're comfortable in, and it's going to maintain its value and last forever. And of course we're a company that's going to be around for a very long time, so we're always there to turn back to ask questions. I'm building relationships with my clients that last a lifetime. We build one house, we build two houses. I'm building houses for, even in my decade in Canada, I'm building houses now for the kids of
previous customers. Isn't that great?
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, and it's I know 90% of my clients by their first name, and of course I touch so many people out in the streets and here and there. It's good to be known as a guy that's ethical and building great houses, and people are and standing behind them, right? So and it's like the old days when I grew up in England. We build a house, and the builder would actually put his name on the house, and
like a signed painting,
like a signed painting,
exactly. Right? Yeah, something to be proud of.
Yeah, and when you bought a house, you'd ask who built this house,
right?
Who built this house? Now it's just numbered companies throwing up houses and corporations that are collapsing, and there's problems ahead. That all this poor construction is going to crumble, and uneducated homeowners are going to have nobody to turn to, and they're going to be left with big problems.
Well, and there's a key adjective right there. And by the way, one other element that we're just talking about the high-tech aspect of FairTradeWorks and the amount of time and talent that you've taken to organize this company in a very modern kind of way. I should have, in the same breath, obviously included the website, which is fairtradeworks.biz, because that's really where it all happens in terms of giving potential customers an opportunity to see what the company is all about. It's a terrific website, so check it out, fairtradeworks.biz. You can do it while you're listening to the radio, assuming you're not driving at the moment, of course. Jim, you have in previous meetings told me a little bit about the lessons you've learned from your travels around the world. And one thing that I've been a little I've questioned is, because you've described British Columbia and the environment in which homes get built in this part of the world as being considerably less regulated than other parts of the world. That's not to say it's a Wild West show, but it is less regulated than other Australia or the UK or other jurisdictions.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I think it just starts with the workforce. I think I grew up in England where trades and contractors are highly skilled, and it's the old trades that they've had forever, and the legislation is much tougher, and we use things like in the UK we use quantitative surveying, so where we'll contract to build something, and then a private somebody would come and quantify that work, make sure it's up to standard, and those things are signed off before it gets paid. Like over here, unfortunately, anybody can get a business license, get a truck, stick a decal on the side, and call themselves a contractor and start knocking on doors and trying to sell their trying to scale. That's a blank. I'm not tarring anybody the same brush. I have lots of people I look up to and my peers that are phenomenal tradespeople and business people that building and continue to build great structures. But as you mentioned before, there's huge demand for new home construction, all these things, and unfortunately, there's a lot of bad seeds in the pack, and people just don't know. They'll look at a house, it looks a nice color, and they'll look inside, they'll see it's got a nice appliance and a nice cooker, and everything looks good. So I'll pay 1.6 for 2-3 million, whatever you name the price, right? And they really have no idea what's behind those walls. It's there's a lot of really poor construction that's been happening, and I think a lot of people, unfortunately, like I keep mentioning, are gonna pay that price for that unregulated construction, where in years to come they're going to be saddled with a home that's going to need to be in continuous repair to maintain its value, or in some cases even to keep it standing.
Our guest on this episode of Experts on Call is Jim Perkins, president and founder of FairTradeWorks, and we'll be right back with lots more here on AM 650.
Delivering relevant and beneficial consumer information. This is Experts on Call, and there's more still ahead on AM 650.